All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of UCF X's and O's. Today we are looking back at UCF at Kansas from this past Saturday. UCF unfortunately lost 51-22. Just taking a look at some of the box stats right now and just looking at the game overall. Obviously, you guys remember we started John Rice Plumlee. He unfortunately wasn't 100%, wasn't good to go. So he ended up coming out of the game after a few series. Kansas, what more can you say? Their offensive line really dominated up front. We didn't fit the run very well again, unfortunately, so they end up having a huge day. They go for 399 yards rushing. That's been kind of the theme of the last 3 to 4 games of the season is our inability to really stop the run, and that's been a big issue. I think that's going to continue to be an issue going forward. Pass-wise, we've been pretty good in the secondary. We've been really good at the cornerback spot, doing a good job locking it down. 399 yards though, that's a really really tough day, and if they didn't have that long kick return and the long punt return, they very well could have hit 450, 500 yards. Just looking at Kansas receiving, only 8 catches for 91 yards, but again, they didn't need to do a whole lot on the receiving side. UCF receiving, once we started to pick it up, we actually did all right. I mean, Javon had a pretty good game. Randy Pittman got his first touchdown. Alec Holler gets a touchdown, to first touchdown for us of the game. All that to say, this obviously was not our best showing. In the first 2 games in the Big 12, we easily, in my opinion, I think we could have won those games. K-State, we were up. We just, again, our inability to stop the run in some of these situations, and again, we're making some mistakes on offense. Then the Baylor game, I mean, we're up by 28 points, biggest comeback win for Baylor in their school history, our biggest, comeback loss in our school history. So reality is there is a lot of stuff that needs to be cleaned up. I think that we have the ability to clean it up. Is it going to happen this week next week against Oklahoma? I don't know. Luckily, we do have a bye week to hopefully get a little bit more healthy. We're not 100% sure the status of JRP. He played last week, but again, only played for a few series, only played for a few plays before he ended up coming out. They said on the broadcast that he might have heard a pop. I'm not 100% sure exactly, and I don't think we're really going to know until game time again. But if we do have Timmy, there are things that I think that we can clean up, things that we've seen on film the last few weeks. And again, it's not even going to be so much about our offense right now. It's going to be about, can we stop Oklahoma? Can we stop the running game of Oklahoma? And then obviously we have a familiar face over there is Dylan Gabriel. But really, we're going to break this video down into 2 halves. We're going to look at the offense first, then we're going to look. You can see that we have a substitution. They're running a too high safety look. We end up getting, right now for the RPO, we end up giving it, and the safety stayed high. So that's a good read all around. Again, first down, the ball's moving. I think we feel all right. Second play, this is JRP is able to break the pocket, but he's able to put in a really nice throw. I know one of the things that we look at just overall with JRP is sometimes the accuracy wasn't always there last year. This year, I think the accuracy's been pretty good. To me, this is a nice job of him stepping up in the pocket. Maybe you would have liked to see him stay in there a little bit longer and just see using that block. See, the block is trying to send the end outside. But, again, it's a really nice throw right there. So, this drive, we're in pretty good position to get points. Okay, so we're at 1st and 10 from the 30. You're basically at the kick line. If you add 17 yards to the 30, that's 47-yard kick. I think we feel pretty good about that. Boomers hit those. We're running the little fake screen on the bottom, try to hit the vertical. Unfortunately, we sail the ball, but we do get pretty good coverage to what we want. So it's Javon right now in a one-on-one situation, but this is also a hard ball for Timmy to, he's just coming out. I don't know if he knew he was going to play or not, but he sails it about 8 yards out of the end zone. Nice pickup by the running back in the to get the corner blitz or help with that. Second down, we're still in range right now. We come back with a jet sweep to the field, so we end up getting 2 yards. I mean, that's, again, it's positive yardage. That's all right. Turn that kick to a 45-yard kick, move it on to the next. The 3rd and 9 that we had, we got a false start. I think that was one of 3 false starts in the game. So unfortunately, that's that was something that just it threw us backwards. We said if we're at the 30 and we just don't lose any yards, we're okay. Now we're looking at about a 51-yarder. Gets a little bit more dicey. Third down, 3rd and 14 now. We're kind of in an obvious screen or draw situation. Let's just try to get a few yards. And unfortunately, we end up losing again. We lose another 2 yards. So, again, if you're doing the math, you go from, the plus 30. Now you end up going backwards. Now you're at like the plus 37, 38. Add 17 to that. It's not a very good situation. I think it's one of those where, both sides know basically what's going to happen on that play. In 3rd and 14, you're trying to walk away with the points. Okay, so now we're looking at second drive. We just let up a long drive on defense. Offense had time to rest, regroup, and then we're going with JRP again. He must have gotten checked out. He feels pretty good about it, so we're gonna roll it. We're gonna roll with him. That's fine. We're running the ball well, starting out on our own -25. We were getting him outside, inside. Let's give him a little bit of play action. I think the ball was there. I think the opportunity was here. We're giving him something to think about. We're gonna run the first running back out on the rail route, and then we're gonna run the second back as the check down. It's something where here's the issues that we've seen with those kind of touch passes that maybe don't always go the greatest. Some of our touch is a little bit off, and again, we don't necessarily know what was going on with the knee at this point. That definitely could have affected what he's able to plant and push into. So we're taking a look at the zone read. One of the things though is that JRP I think told the announcers pregame that he didn't actually plan on running all that much. So if we're gonna run, the little run out option where he has the ability, he's probably not a run threat right now. They're really not even taking too much of a look at him. I think in another instance, you see that we're seeing the end surfing and sitting. He's able to get back into the play, but we don't have the legs to really give a threat outside of running it. JRP also, I think, was type of athlete who obviously you could outrun a D end in most situations. So 3rd and 6. This is actually a good ball. Really good coverage though. That's the unfortunate thing. But accuracy wise, this is a good ball. We're able to see the safety roll down. So again, they're going their too high shell. You can see safety roll down. Xavier's got him on inside. But really nice coverage. But again, that ball is surprisingly very, very accurate to, again, we just saw that screen that gets stuffed in the dirt. That's only like an 8-yard throw laterally, but then all of a sudden we see a downfield shot. So I think that, again, was one of those things that comes in the coaching decision. Do we know where the knee is? We're not exactly able to give it on a short dump-off play, but on the downfield throw, it's a plant, it's a good throw, and it ends up being kind of one of those 50-50 type situations, but I don't necessarily think that this is a bad ball by any means. It's just really good coverage at the time. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the third series coming out. We had just let up a touchdown. That was Kansas' first touchdown of the game. Now it's 10-0. Not out of reach, obviously. 10-0. The way our offense can score is, we feel all right about it. We missed the groove. First drive, we had a few positive plays. First drive, we were in points range, end up losing it. Second drive, obviously, things don't go as well. But still shouldn't be anything to worry about. This throw initially, I think this is easily going to be a completion, but unfortunately somebody on the D-line is able to stick their hand up and affect the pass. They end up tipping the pass right there. We end up, but we have it. It's wide open, so you see the safety right here. Safety who's parallel to the referee. He's creeping down. He runs down to get into the fit. We're throwing the bang 8 off of it. Bang 8, glance route, whatever you want to call it. It's a little skinny. It's kind of in between of a slant and a post, but call it a bang 8 or a glance. That's going to be a good throw, but unfortunately ends up just getting tipped to the line. again, I think that this is kind of one of those things where the right knee is the one that's being affected, but we're able to plant and push on these downfield throws. So that's the reason that I think that maybe we decide to stick with it, maybe a little bit longer than we should have. Second, we end up getting positive. 5 yards. We're in a manageable situation. We end up running fake screen one way, and then we go screen to the field. And again, these are kind of those consistency issues that I'm not 100% sure if this was the knee affecting this throw, or if this was it's just the accuracy issue. But having said that, we probably get the first down if we complete that ball. Um, we probably get the first down. It's set up pretty nicely. We already showed the fake screen before on the first drive of the game, and now we're gonna run it back to the field. Now we're actually throwing the second screen back to the field. We have blockers out here. Just make one guy miss and go. Fourth drive of the game, I think with John Rice Plumlee, if he's not 100% to run the ball and become that dynamic extra rusher, extra gap player that we have, then unfortunately that takes away a lot of the calls of what Gus wants to run in the offense, or that takes away just a lot of things in general that we're taking a look at and ways that we'd like to play. So fourth series we're coming out. We let up a touchdown to Kansas on defense again. But 17-0, still, really, it's only 3 scores, right? Still not a whole lot to panic about. And again, get a really nice run up the middle. We're moving the ball. We're doing well. 17-yard run is huge. To do that, you got some good blocking. So, from the offensive standpoint, I don't necessarily think it was a line issue. We weren't necessarily able to always sustain these plays. We end up going. Again, this is kind of one of those things. I noted it online before. I don't know if I've seen JRP this year take an under center snap, but we have seen Timmy take a few. We're trying to run the end around. We're trying to beat him to the edges again. We had a little bit of success getting to the edges. Seeing Amari Johnson out there, I don't think Amari's played in quite a while. Not at least that I can remember. I think he was injured for a time being. So it actually is nice to get to see him back out there, thinking that he must have had a pretty good week of practice. Same thing with Chauncey Magwood. Must have had a pretty good week of practice just to be able to see those guys starting to get some playing time. So, 2nd and 8. Again, that was another one of our false starts. Puts us in a bad situation. We go 2nd and 13. Why the false starts from the running back position, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure. So, 2nd and 13, you can see Kansas right now, they have a high safety right there, just on the upper side of the mascot. We have another safety more to the field on the lower side of the mascot, and then the box right now is you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you kind of have that overhang who's sitting in between. He's on the hashes in between the slot and the wide receiver, so we're not 100% sure what he's doing right there. As soon as we see we're kind of in the belly, he's starting to ride in there for the give. He's trying to help out with the running back. Could we pull that RPO off it? Maybe. That's one of those plays where if we read it a little bit quicker, or if we throw it a little bit quicker, could we have gotten could we have just gone straight to the throw? There's a chance right there, especially if we go flatter. But again, unfortunately, we get put in the bad situation because of the false start. It's 3rd and 12. 3rd and 12 is not an easy down for anybody to get. Motion. Try to bring back the screen. Again, put this one a little bit high. So we set up a lot of these jet sweeps. Try to set up a lot of these screens with the jet stuff, right? We're trying to run the jet motions. You can see the safeties are getting pulled over. You can see bodies are getting pulled over. But they still had somebody sitting on holler. So they do a good job right here. They're able to watch it, kind of sniff it out. Again, I think that's where they're thinking. Once you get into these 3rd and long situations, you're generally going to be thinking screen or draw. And so we weren't able to bust this one. They see it. They're bringing pressure. All right, so next drive we're coming out. Think this is the point in the game where Kansas just scored again. We weren't able to stop them on defense. Now we're trying to get our defense somewhat of a rest, and we're also trying to, just trying to get some points, just trying to get some momentum for the offense, try to feel good about what's going on. We're able to move the ball first series, and then we start to stall out a little bit. Going into the half, obviously 24-0. It's only technically three scores with three extra points, three 2-point conversions out of it. But it's not really a place where you want to be, especially if you're not stopping them on the defensive side. So 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. You run these drills in practice every day. You're running your 2-minute O. You're in these situations where you're trying to hurry up, but there is definitely some urgency that's starting to creep up on you. Yeah, and I think that's gonna dictate a lot of what's going on. Again, we had a false start, first down. It's a really nice play to start, though. This is huge play. We get again 17 yards. So I think when you're looking at these types of plays, and obviously we're not getting the touchdowns, everything that's going on that you want to happen, but there's a lot of these positive plays. I mean, this is just really nice play. Johnny taking the outside sweep, getting an outside zone look, and we do a really good job. Bula's leading up. Great job blocking downfield. 17 yards again is a huge play. 17 yards is a huge run. So I think that we're happy about this, and I think that this is giving us some hope, especially in the play calls when we're looking at it and we're thinking, okay, we can get to the edges on these guys, we can run inside on these guys. Then we go really nice RPO with Timmy. Safety comes down, able to fit the throw in there. It's a good ball, so we're moving. It's a good ball, we're moving. We have momentum, right? 240. Now we're feeling good. We had two big explosive plays. Coming back. If the ball is a little bit different, if the ball maybe has a little bit more air, this is probably a touchdown. And again, I don't want to nitpick it too bad. But this is a good play call. It's a good decision. Again, we're getting them on those jet sweeps, right? So we're going to run that jet motion across. It's going to affect bringing the safety back to the middle of the field. It kind of brought him down. And now we unload a good ball. If the ball is a little bit higher, a little bit more outside, ball probably should have stayed high and outside. Instead, it brings him to the inside. Does it give the defender a chance, an opportunity? Maybe, and I think that's been kind of really the only knock on some of these deeper balls that Timmy's throwing is that sometimes the touch, it's maybe a little bit too light. It's either maybe not as strong as you want to push it downfield, or it's maybe the placement isn't exactly where you want it to be. But this is close. I mean, Javon thought that he had it. I mean, he basically does. It's right here. So obviously, if we end up making that score, we end up going in 24-7. Even if we just catch the ball, we're down in the red zone. I think that we have a good chance to score. So we go in 24-7. That's obviously a lot different than going 24-0, going scoreless in the first half in 9 seasons. Since the curse season. Again, really nice inside run. I don't think the O-line was having an issue with the Kansas D-line. We're moving the ball on them. That's one of those things. Again, without points, I know sometimes it's hard to conceptualize that we are doing well. But we were moving the ball. Timmy's making some checks right here up front. We end up going right now. It's 1st and 10. Again, now we're on the plus 33, 34 yard line. We're probably going to get points out of this drive if we can just keep it going a little bit. It's 90 seconds to go. 90 seconds, just got to be smart with the ball. This is first down, right? This is probably the biggest issue that we've seen so far is being smart with the ball, trusting your reads, doing what you should be doing, correct? The throw right here, we're breaking inside. There's nobody in front of it. We probably should have thrown the ball. We probably should have pulled the trigger on it. Instead, we wait. We end up scrambling. And then I don't really know what the plan was here. We take a look at the replay. both our feet are up in the air at this point when he's trying to throw the ball. So if we take away the defender, right? If we take away the fact that he even hits his arm, I don't know how far this ball's going to go, period. Right? We're falling backwards. We're both feet are in the air. We're not planting. We're not throwing. We're not doing any of that. So what are the odds that that ball's even going to make it to safety for if that's a throwaway or if we're trying to hit up somebody? I don't know. But again, here's where I'm talking about where we're looking at this. We're reading it. Okay? Player comes down, right? Got safety rolling down. He's coming in for the jet. Window's there. Boom. So, unfortunately, that obviously ends the half. And we get no points out of it. All right, so coming out second half, third quarter, we unfortunately go scoreless in the first half. Promising drive, again, ends up being a big mistake, costly mistake for us. First play of the next half, or first play on defense, we let up, I think, 80-yard touchdown. So, again, puts us in a worse hole at this point, 31-0. Things aren't looking good, but hey, at this point, just, try to do what you got to do. Move the ball. You're not going to get it all back in one play, right? If you're going to chip away at a lead like this, you got to do it just in small increments. You got to keep getting positive plays. So this, I like that. We're going two back right now. We haven't seen a whole lot of two back sets in general. So going two back, they decide that they're going to bring some pressure, probably pressure when they see two back. We're given the jet look, the outside look. Timmy just does a really nice job pulling it. We end up getting a great positive play, 9 yards. We're rolling. Again, we're doing an okay job up the middle, right? Huge play right here. Bust open the middle again. So, I don't want to harp on that because obviously points are what you're looking for. But I think we're doing an okay job moving bodies up front. It was just a matter of execution in a few of these plays that we needed, executing on some of these throws, executing on just making sure that we're not getting these false start penalties that put us in these nasty situations. So we end up getting 1st and 10. This is our first real red zone trip of the day. Making a little bit of a check at the line. You can see they're running high safeties right here. They're trying to protect the first down, trying to protect the goal line. I think that this is supposed to be RPO give. I think it's supposed to be a give right here. We can see the safeties are staying up high. Unfortunately, we don't give the ball, so now we're holding it. But at this point, the hitch is open. The hitch up top, you can see we're sitting on the 10 with the wide receiver. We have a window. We don't throw it, turn back. But at least positive to me, though, it was obviously we didn't lose yards on it, and we didn't decide to try to break the pocket or go backwards, right? We're not breaking the backwards. We're not breaking the pocket going backwards. We're staying in it. We're turning. We're squaring our shoulders back up. And then we're going to try to rush to daylight. Whether it's a 0, +1, -1, doesn't really matter. We didn't go, we didn't lose 10 yards on the play. We didn't have a turnover on the play. Again, you can see the offensive line, though. It's a big hole. We do a good job collapsing it, so. Next play, this is the touchdown play. Finally, we get a little bit of a... finally we get some good news, right? We're running a little bit of a fake screen switch concept. We're going to run the fake the screen. We're going to run the post, bring the defense over with it, and then Holler's out there for an easy touchdown. As he fakes the screen, he goes, easy touchdown. Nice drawn up play. And then just score being where it's at, we decide to go for 2. But all right, so now we're coming back next series. We ended up actually getting a 2-point conversion. We end up getting a safety on the defensive side of the ball. But again, it's unfortunately after letting up another touchdown. Here's another one of those plays that I think I'm, mentioning where I just think if Timmy kind of trusts it and pulls the trigger a little bit faster on some of these throws, I think that we could have had completion. We're running that same little yo-yo motion, 2 back. We're coming back to a concept where we just got them, right, on defense. Now we're going to give them the same look. So we're bringing it down. Linebackers come down heavy. They're thinking run. I think we have some guys open in the middle, I think we have some open runners. we ended up not throwing it. Now, to his credit, again, it's a nice play to step up in the pocket, go vertical. Ends up being, I think, a positive 3-yard play. But it could have been a lot more out of it, right? Obviously, if we're able to make the throw. But, I guess right now we're living with some of these growing pains, right? We're living with it because we're not losing 10 yards on the play. 2nd and 8, running a little play action. We're going to go run a screen back. Nice positive play. Now we're manageable situation. 3rd and 5 is good for us. We decide to move the pocket, give Timmy a rollout. I think that's where he seems to feel comfortable, is when he's starting to break the pocket. And, it's a nice, easy read for him. You have your mid-level, then you have your check down in the flat. Ends up being a good ball. So, good ball. We're going 1st down. We're running the double reverse. And deep option isn't there. We go screen. Fans are probably going nuts at home. But again, it's a positive play, right? We got 5-6 yards. That's all right. We'll work with that. Any play that's positive is good for us on offense. You can't go broke making a profit every play. So, again, really nice rush. 9-10 yard run right up the middle. Again, harping on it, saying the same thing. I think our offensive line did fine up front. All right, so now 2nd and 5. We're starting to move the ball. Obviously, we just crossed the 50. Again, I think we're getting into the opportunity zones. We get our pretty patented little reverse with the fake pivot with Holler, ends up doing his reverse out. We do pull the guard to give fake action to the linebackers. It's a good play. This is the play that Kansas ends up pumping us with earlier on in the game. This is one of our staples over the last 2-3 years, and something that Kansas, I don't know if this was something that they saw us do and decided that they wanted to run it as well, or if they've been running it too. But they do hit us on it for a pretty big play in the first half. 1st down again, positive, 2 to 3 yards. We try to go double pass right here. I don't know what happens with this ball. I mean, there's not much more I'm going to say about that. What can you really say? We tried to go double pass, just didn't work out. 3rd down. 1st down again. We're moving it. We're going. And obviously some of this is situational, where Kansas is going to start playing probably a little bit more heavy on the pass, right? They're going to try to play a little bit further back. But that's having said that, we're still doing a good job up front. They're going to try to stop more of these explosive pass plays, and they're all right if we're going to keep the ball on the ground. They're okay if we're going to keep trying to move the ball, keep juicing the clock. If this was RPO right here, I think we could have thrown the ball. I think we would have been all right. Again, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if this is RPO right here. I'm thinking just because what we do typically it is, and just the way that we're looking for it. But we end up not throwing it. But you can see the apex player, that overhang player. I mean, he's fast down. So to me, that's a throw. So again, you can see 15 right here. He's flying down hard. We're looking at it. I don't necessarily know why we don't throw it. Kobe's in the slot right there. I think that probably is, it should be an easy completion, right? Because you have your apex player going out. So Kobe's all alone. Again, really nice run. 3rd and 7. Johnny doing Johnny things. How good has he been all year with this type of stuff? Then again, we decide to go under center. We decide to go jet sweep across, rocket sweep. Mari Johnson again getting another play in there. We end up, that's at the quarter. So obviously we don't score. We're going into the 4th quarter now. Still have the ball. We're still in the red zone. It's one of those situations, though. You're looking at the score, 37-8. We got 15 minutes to go in the ball game. We haven't done much to stop my defense, and we're really just looking for our 2nd touchdown of the game. So I don't think neither side is going to try to force the issue. Really, what you're trying to do is you're just trying to move the ball, get positive yards on both sides. One side is trying to juice the clock. The other side is just trying to put up some points right now and maybe start to feel good, and you try to see what you can execute and which players are going to do well in these situations. But I don't think it's a situation where you even really think about the win in this scenario, you're just thinking, let's just start making a few plays here and there, and let's just try to get some of this going. I don't necessarily know. Say, Timmy seems to have a lot of checks and a lot of talking to the offensive line. I know K-State, that ended up hurting us in some situations where we maybe weren't always able to get the relay in for the play. So I don't know exactly if this was supposed to be RPO game, if this was supposed to have any opportunity to throw off of it. So 3rd and 7. Again, it's a really nice run up the middle. Then 1st goal. Again, we're moving the ball. Nice job up front. I mean, again, I want to continue to give the up front, give them credit, because I know it's one of those things. If you don't see points, you just kind of assume, hey, the O-line isn't doing great, or you see, obviously, that sack fumble, and you think, man, what was going on? The sack fumble, not going to put that on the O-line right there. We're running, it's a nice block by Holler, we're running a little GH counter, a play that they're killing us on the offensive, or on the defensive side. Kansas is just killing us on GH counter and counter in general, GT counter, but we decide to run it ourselves, get positive play out of it, 7 yards, 1st down, and then obviously touchdown right here. Now we come into next drive. Obviously we let up another touchdown on defense, 44-15. Just start trying to run some of our stuff again, try to get some of these guys some work, try to get some experience, and try to see what we can run, right? We still got to build a foundation. We still have a whole season to play, still have 6-7 more games left to play, and we're not sure what's going on with the quarterback situation, right? If we're have a long-term injury, or if we're going to be back in 2 weeks for the Oklahoma game. So we still got to run the offense. Timmy was a nice throw right there on the screen, get the 1st down right here. I mean, it's 3rd and 1. That's really, it doesn't matter if you just get the 1 or if you get 4 yards out of it. What we're looking for is just the 1st down. Again, really, really nice throw. Only critique would be, again, potentially just shorting the ball a little bit. Same thing we kind of saw with some of those K-State long throws. If we give him a little bit more, if right now we're past it. Javon's been doing really well the last 2 weeks, right? It's great in and out route. If we give him more air, and he doesn't have to slow down for the ball, like he has to slow down and stop, and the defender's in him now. Contested catch, great catch. But if he doesn't have to stop for it, that's probably a touchdown. Again, not to say that that's going to change the outcome of the game, but at this point, I think you're looking for little things. You're looking for the positives, right, moving forward, especially if you're potentially, don't know exactly what's going on in the quarterback situation. So I think you are going to continue to look for those positives, and I think you want to, you're looking for some of this perfection, right? You want to nitpick some of this. For his touchdown, we end up running the post, and then we end up throwing a little fake screen. So Holler's the one who's fake screening now at the bottom. It's not a wide receiver, but Holler's going to run the short. We're going to run the post to the inside, and then Randy Pittman's running free all alone. So congratulations to Randy. It's his 1st touchdown as a UCF Knight. Probably not the scenario that we envisioned it for or wanted it to be, his 1st touchdown. But nevertheless, it is a touchdown. So good job all around. Able to get it. You can see it's a nice shot on the throw. Again, if we're going to nitpick it, I mean, could have let him maybe, but that's all right, All right, so next drive, we're going, it's 44-22. Again, game is probably in the bag, but we're going to run 4 to one side, flood the coverage, 4 strong load. We're going to run running back, he's the short, we're running up tight end, and we're moving, right? Again, we're seeing they're dropping. It looks like they're dropping into quarters. I think we have some stuff right here. If we throw it a little bit sooner, right? I think some of our eyes were kind of waiting on it. Now again, big positive run. Ends up being a really nice play. But if we trust some of these throws, I think that we have the opportunity to throw. And I think that's, more what we want to see from Timmy right here is, can he trust his arm to get there? Can he trust his reads to make these throws? I think we know that he can scramble, right? He's maybe not scrambling the same way that JRP runs, but we want to see somebody who can at least, we know that they can trust their arm to get the throw there. And I think that would have been a little bit more encouraging if we could see that. So we're moving. Ends up being a good read, I think. But I think we float this ball a little bit. Give the defender a chance. Again, we're having to stop and jump over the defender. Could it have been pass interference? Probably, right? I mean, it probably is, but at that point, and at any point, really, you want to take the decision out of the referee's hands. You don't want to let a game go to, are you waiting for a flag or not? So put it out there. Give them some room to run. Maybe it's a touchdown from there. Maybe you end up getting Kansas to feel a little bit tighter on their sideline. But hey, that's something where we have to live with, right? We're 6 weeks into the season now. Not a whole lot's going to change. Again, this is one of these plays where watch on the up top, on the top part of the screen, where again we're gonna load the coverage a little bit. We're running that same situation. I think we see it. We're just not throwing it. I think we're nervous to throw it. I think we think that the coverage is going to close on it quick enough. But again, it's right here. Window's open. He cleared the backer. There's a hole, right? There's a hole in between backer and safety. We don't do it. That's okay if we miss some of these, right? That's okay if we miss that. But what we can't do is this. What we can't do is you start running backwards and then, what was the point of not throwing it away earlier, right? We're scrambling. Scramble drill. Timmy's pretty good at scramble drill. Our receivers are pretty good at it. Throw it now. I mean, get rid of it now. Why wait there? And I think that's the frustrating part from, if you're going to look at it from a coaching standpoint, I think that's where you're frustrated because some of these plays turn into wild card plays. You're not 100% sure what the outcome is going to be in that situation, right? You're not sure. Is he going to make the throw and the read, or are we going backwards now? 3rd and 16, again, puts us in screen or draw situation. That's almost kind of the universal. You pretty much know you have to do that. You need to get to 4th down, and you need to get some manageable, you just need to get to some manageable yards. Obviously, 4th and 8. I mean, what are you going to do on 4th and 8, right? You're trying to run your standard offense. You're trying to run your 9 to 12, 14-yard plays, but you also need to protect it, right? And if Kansas is going to bring pressure, it's one of those situations. You know what you're doing. They know what you're doing. Yeah, they're bringing 6. So, tough situation right there. But that's it for the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, wasn't always pretty. We didn't always make the best decisions. But the positives on it, I think, Javon is definitely a positive out there at wide receiver. Offensive line, I actually think we're in, run blocking pretty well. I thought our running backs did a good job with the opportunities that they had. We obviously get into a situation where we can't really run the ball as much as normal, maybe. Quarterbacking, it's one of those things. We don't know how much practice Timmy had in this past week. We don't know how much of that opportunity was given to him with the ones. Things, obviously, that I think I'd like to see him clean up would be, a better deep ball, a little bit stronger of a deep ball. Lead the guys a little bit more. Don't let them slow down. Don't let the defense get in the way of it. And then I think, obviously, decision-making. That's one of those things where we've seen it before. The running backwards, that needs to be eliminated out of the game. Even if we're not always hitting some of those open read throws that we've seen on film, just don't break the pocket and run backwards like that. That's been really, really detrimental to some of the things that we're trying to do. So that's what I would say, just at least as far as the offense. Obviously, not as many points as we would have wanted. But next, we're about to look at the defense, and we're going to be taking a look at it right now. All right, so thanks so much if you guys were able to stick around and make it through the entire first half of the video, through the offense, or if you just decide to skip ahead because you want to see the defense. I don't fully blame you. Just cause it was our worst showing of the year on the defensive side of the ball. First play of the game, first offensive series for us, first defensive series for us. Not starting out the hottest. You can see the two receivers right there. Kansas is going unbalanced. We're covering a covered wide receiver. So essentially, the middle wide receiver, because he's being covered, he should be treated dead. Um, he's not an eligible receiver to go out for a pass. So we got to be kind of thinking run is coming. Again, that's just kind of doesn't kill us right there, but it ends up kind of setting the tone of not, just not maybe being as aware as we would like sometimes. Um, a second play is a holding, ends up being a holding, so that kind of saves us. But it ends up being a really big play. And then the third is just the situation right here is they're running a little bit of counter back, right? Tough play for the linebackers, but if you see, say on the linebacker is on the hash right now, right, on the left side, he's flowing with it, but then instead of fighting over the top, he gets caught in the wash, and that really needs to be the next fill guy. And was kind of the story of the day. We're not fighting over the top on some of this stuff, and we end up getting caught up in the wash. We allowed Kansas' O-line to really, really do a good job and kind of dominate us up front. They're moving us off the ball. So on the offensive side, right, how we said that our O-line actually did a pretty good job against Kansas' D-line. I mean, Kansas' O-line just, they did a very, very good job against us. And again, a lot of it had to do with some of our run fits weren't exactly, where they needed to be. But just, yeah, I think that their O-line did a very good job. We knew going into the game, I think Kansas had let up the least amount of pressures or sacks on a quarterback. I don't know if that was just in the Big 12 or if that was in the NCAA. But they were just opening up some huge run lanes. Here's an interesting one. Now, got a lot of messages on Twitter with people asking me, hey, would you be able to break down this or that? People, when I put out the message asking, what everybody wanted to look at, resounding was, hey, I want to look at the defense. I want to see what do we do wrong, what do we do right, this and that. And then I got messages questioning about, hey, is it the plays or is it the players? The plays are always going to be the plays, and the players, are who we have. So I think there's always going to be somewhat of a combination, and I don't think that that's an easy thing to say because I don't think it's always easy to point blame. I think that pointing blame is just one aspect of what's going on. We're pointing blame at a result, but as they start to move the ball, 2nd and 5, we get a little trade motion. Got a lot of messages online, people asking me kind of, hey, you know what, is it the players? Is it the play calling? What's going on defense? Why is this going the way that it is? To be honest with you, I don't think we can necessarily just finger point one specific thing, one specific player or specific plays. Have we been caught in some bad blitzes, some bad looks? Yeah, absolutely. And have we made the mistakes as players, fitting the wrong gap or just doing the wrong assignment? I mean, yeah, absolutely too. And that's part of kind of the nature of college football, right? Mistakes are going to be made. Whoever can limit the mistakes typically is going to end up winning championship. And that's what we've seen, obviously, out of the Georgias and Alabamas over the last few years is basically being able to really eliminate kind of the crazy play, being able to eliminate just the huge mistakes that have happened. This is one of those plays, though, where we're looking at it. We get caught in a slant. The D-line is actually going to be crashing away. So we have a pressure, right? We have safety pressure coming basically to where the run is going to be. We're slanting away. So now that ends up leaving a really, really big hole for us. We slant away, but we have the edge. This is a great shot. I wish they would always give us these shots and these replays. Where you're going to be able to see from the end zone. The run is going to the offensive right. Defensively, we had a stunt on where we were shifting on the inside. So I would think, once they bring that tight end over, I would think we need to bump over, right? Somebody needs to have a bump somewhere because technically right now we're short a gap, right? If you just count up the gaps, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? We have 6 guys now trying to cover 8 gaps. We have our 7th coming with the blitzer, so safety's coming off the edge, but we're missing it up front. I mean, that's just a huge hole. Anybody could have ran through that. You don't need a running back. You don't need a fast guy to run through that hole. Yeah. And that was just kind of it. It ends up being a great play for Kansas, and because we're slanting away on the D-line, we slant away from it, and that's opening up a huge hole. Again, how that's affecting our run fit, I don't necessarily know if we were able to adjust it that quickly on the fly, but that's what made that play so big. Kansas doing the little trade motion again. We're bringing back our safety this time, but we end up getting a nice stop out of it, right? So 2 to 3 yards, we'll live with that all day. Next play, 2nd and 7. We get caught up in the boot. I think they probably saw that off the Baylor game. We're not necessarily doing a great job with the boot action. From the linebacker standpoint, when you see that, when you see the receiver, tight end, whoever it is, in this case the tight end, he's flashing across your face, right? Is underneath it. I mean, that's kind of hard to miss. If you're going to say the eyes are on the running back, I mean, that's one thing, right? We get the play action. But as soon as we see that and it's flashing across your face on the other side, say if you're the backer on the opposite side, right? Once that comes through, I mean, you saw it. It flashed across your face. That's just one of those things that just noticed it. We didn't do a great job of it. So, first down, we actually do a really good job now. Once they trade it, we're going to flip the safeties. We're going to bring it back. So, watch, they trade. Now we bump safety down, we bump safety over, bring the nickel back. We actually do a really good job right here, right? We stretch it out, and we make it go laterally. Obviously, our tackling's not the best, but one of the things, I mean, now, from a schematic standpoint, what was really killing us a lot was the gap plays. The gap plays and then over pursuing on the zone plays. But on the gap play, what I mean by that is, if you're not familiar, is that's a lot of the times when you're pulling somebody. Most of the time when you're pulling somebody, whether it's power, counter, GT counter, GH counter, whatever it is, that's what I mean by gap play. And with the gap plays, pretty much everybody in the world, if you're going to run gap scheme, you're trying to get downhill, you're trying to run fast vertically. And then when you're running zone, you're either trying to get the edge or you're trying to get the cut back. We weren't doing a good job of making their gap plays spill out to the edges. We weren't doing a good job of making it kind of stretch laterally. And that's what you want to do on the gap stuff, right? If you can stop them from getting vertical on you and really, keep them away from just hitting the holes and hitting the safety right up the middle, you want to be able to help stretch it out. Give your safety an opportunity to run inside out. Give your linebackers an opportunity to keep stretching it out there. And that's really going to help. And then on the zone stuff, you're going to stop it, but you're also going to not over pursue it, because as soon as you do, you allow the rock back, you allow the cut back from the running back. So I think that this is definitely one of our better jobs of the day, right? We didn't do a great job of stopping the run, period. Again, would like to see a little bit better tackling and just running of the feet. So 2nd and 9, we're bringing a little bit of pressure. Quarterback just makes a really nice throw, right? It's a really nice throw, really nice catch. There's not much more that we could do about the throw, right? We're trying to affect it. He's moving, he's rolling opposite side. It's a good throw. We got to give him credit right there. He's got a guy in his face, and then it's just a toe tap on the sideline. So, is what it is. You can live with those plays because you know that they're not going to hit those 80-90% of the time, right? That's just not the way that it works. You're going to see these types of plays by the quarterback and the wide receiver, and again, you can live with that. It's a game of inches. It's a great play. The thing that's tough is that you can't live with is when they start gashing you on power, counter, zone. It's when they just keep running it down your throat, and it's just brute force strength, and we're not able to do a thing about it. That's an issue. And I think Kansas, eventually realized, hey, if they're not going to cover X, Y, or Z, we're really not going to have to change out of this on the running side of the ball. Still, first drive of the game for us on defense. 3rd and 3, we actually do a good job of stopping the run right there on the last one, the quarterback. And then Corey Thornton, again, just does a great job of, really denying this ball, stopping a touchdown. All right, so next drive, we hold him to a field goal. At this point, I I think that's a win, right? Game is, it's not completely out of hand, right? It's 3 minutes in the first quarter. It's 3-0. We moved the ball in the first drive, stalled out in the second. Here's where I'm talking about. So, just to show you guys, on the backside guard and tackle, so closer to the bottom of the screen. Bottom of the screen, we're going to see the two guards, or the guard and tackle pull. The first guy is going to be the kick out. The second guy is going to be the lead. He's able to kick out, and then there's a wash down, and then there's a lead. There needs to be a third guy coming over the top on defense, right? There needs to be a third guy filling, and that's where we talk about linebackers getting over the top. So, 2 ways basically that you can do this to stop it. You can either try to box it from outside in, close everything down, condense all the gaps, squeeze it all back into the middle, or you can try to stretch it and force it to go to the sideline. What we can't do is when you're in the middle, when you just let it hit directly up and down, straight up the hole. Again, that's where we talked about the offenses are trying to get vertical on these gap plays. They don't want to get stretched out in gap, right? They don't want to have to run sideline to sideline. That's where we have the advantage. When the offensive lineman's coming at you and he's 340 pounds, we don't really have much of an advantage if he's running full head of steam and you're trying to take on that block one-on-one. We don't really have those guys, right? Especially with our safeties. You don't want to see that. Where you really need to be strong right here is the communication, because you can stop it both ways. Teams do. And you should be able to stop it both ways. You should be able to spill it. You should be able to box it. You need to know what you're going to do and which concepts. But unfortunately, these types of situations are the ones that are going to kill you. Is we're bringing corner blitz, right? So corner's coming off the edge. They condense down. We're going to go corner off the edge. So if a corner doesn't necessarily know how to spill it, I don't blame him specifically. But one thing I would say is you see how he's trying to take it outside in. You're not going to win that battle, right? You're 200 pounds max. You're going up against a guy who's over 300 pounds. So you're always going to get knocked off like that. It's coming down the line. Again, he's trying to do a great job, but he's not going to win that one-on-one battle. He alone at his weight is not going to be able to do enough to close in the right guard who's pulling. Where we need to be a little bit thicker right there is, at the D end, at the anchor point, I think we need to be a little bit thicker. Stop that. Okay, we feel the double team coming. Stay thick. Don't get moved. Right now it's one-on-one with a tight end. I mean, we should be able to hit the choke point and start to press it out there. Again, linebackers need to flow over the top. We're getting caught up in the wash, right? We don't do a good job. The guy who's supposed to be making the tackle gets blocked. And that's, that unfortunately is just not getting fit up well. So, I guess, and to harp on it, and again, this is not me trying to point out one specific player. If you're the linebacker, right, so we're looking at it. If you're the linebacker and you have guard and tackle pulling across your face, right, guard and tackle pull, they're going to the right. One, I would think that that's going to be our first key, whether we're reading the back or we're reading the O-line. If we're saying that we're only reading the back right there, I mean, that's one thing. But you have to see those bodies. You can see the color of the jersey flash across, right? Typically, I would think that we're reading, lineman, two running back. I think that we're probably reading the triangle. We're probably reading guard to back. Again, even if we say that we're not running, even if we say that we're not going to read the lineman, we should be able to see linemen pulling across the formation, right? Even if you are just looking at the back. And as soon as they're flying over there, you would think, okay, GT, I got to work over the top now, right? And it's just that awareness, those dirty eyes that allow you to get sucked up and then get blocked in the downwash. Ends up being a huge play for him. Ends up being, I think, probably one of the key plays for the offensive coordinator. They're up top in the box. They're watching, hey, how are they fitting this? How are they playing this? As soon as they saw that, I think they knew it was probably going to be a pretty good day for them on offense. Next, first down, inside run. We actually do a good job fitting this right here, right? We do a good job containing it up front. Second down, they decide to run the play action. They pull the guard. Again, that's a great shot. That's kind of one of those, right? We talked about that before. You see the hole. So between the flat player and between the deep player, there's a hole. It's not always going to be wide open. It's not always going to be perfect. And you need to throw it to the guy. You need to get him open, right, with your throw. That's a great throw. I mean, it's a good quarterback. I think he's only a freshman. He was running really well, making the right throws. That's a really nice ball. Tight spiral, spin it. Is he going to be better than Jalen Daniels? I have no idea. But right now he's being very, very serviceable to them. He's not the reason that they lost the Texas game, right? That ball floats a little bit. He's rolling opposite. That's all right. We get him into 2nd and 10. Unfortunately, this is one of those plays where we talked about where you get maybe a DB trying to take on a pulling lineman. You're pretty much never going to win that battle because of the weight. And now you see the running back getting on the safety. I think that's Quadric right there. Situation where as soon as the running back's able to start to get downhill and you got a guy who's bigger, thicker, faster, stronger, whatever it is, I mean, if you're trying to take it one-on-one like that downhill, that's not exactly the best thing for us. A lot of the times, typically, we're going to want our guys to, try to tackle inside to out. We start to lose momentum. We start to break down a little bit instead of just taking it fast through. So it ends up not being an easy play for us, right? From a safety position, you got a guy who's big and strong, and he's running full speed ahead. That's tough, especially if we didn't stop him or slow him down at the first level. And that's something where I think that we need to do a little bit better job too, containing, not expecting that third level guy to be able to make that easy tackle one-on-one right there. We can't, and that's something where I think that we can't always expect our safeties to be making those tackles that close to the line. We're hoping that they're the auxiliary, the help on it, but we're not expecting safety to fit the A or the B gap in a typical situation. So they get down, red zone. Again, we do a good job right here, right? Still early in the ball game. Do a good job balling up the run right here. They have trips open. It's a tough play. We're kind of selling out for the run. It's all right. Again, big run right here, right? Big run. I think one of the issues that we're looking at is they're kind of giving us a little bit of a false indicator. Now, where the tight end is, who's right on top of the Big 12 logo, he kind of gives us a little fake. He's going opposite way. And then they're running over to the right. Again, though, we had it until we didn't, right? Bringing it back. If we're just looking at the line and we're just taking our indicators to where they're at, we start to over pursue it and we lose it. On the backside, Jason sees, the other action going, quarterback coming across the other way. And then whoever's on the front, I think that's Cam on the front, but he over pursues it, and it makes it for an easy cutback for the running back. So it ends up turning what probably should have been a loss into a pretty big play, into +6, +7. You can see right here from this kind of side shot, we're okay. And then we're not, because we overrun it. And then a lot of times you might be wondering so what is the solution in that situation? A lot of the teams now, the way that you're running it, especially if you are going to be short those gaps, is you call it fallback technique. So the D-line, D-line linebackers, you're going to have your gaps, you're going to have your assignments, but eventually it gets to the point where the running back, once they declare which side they're going to be, if you have, D lineman in that gap, then you're going to fall backwards. You're going to fall back because the cutback is coming, or vice versa, you're going to have to go take the gap. but just allowing them to stick two guys in the gap and flow over the top the wrong way. That's really what's going to kill you in the run game. Now 2nd and 4, you see they motion down tight, right? They bring tight end in, the other tight end back. We decide to bring the safety down for it in the box. So now we have the extra run fitter. Right, watch this, extra run fitter. We're down. They're running GT counter. On the backside with Cam, I don't know if we're supposed to have a stunt on, a blitz on, whatever it is. Again, you see GT, you see guard and tackle pulling. They're going across now. Is he supposed to be the quarterback? Are we doing an exchange right there with the end and quarterback? I don't know. It looks like, I think this is Seliskar on the edge. It looks like he's surfing it down, so I don't think so. I think we're okay at the quarterback spot. Again, now we need to get over the top. We're seeing the linebackers. So linebacker and safety, I know this might not be the cleanest exchange, but we're fighting over the top. But then we get a little bit too far in. We need to help stretch this ball through. We do a pretty good job right there initially, right? We do a pretty good job of helping stretch it. It gets a little bit nasty on the inside. But because we're not fighting over the top, what allows us to start breaking out there for a first down. Again, I think that's something where they saw it early, and they said, we're just going to keep going early and often until they can stop it, right? We're going to keep going until they can stop it. Again, great play. DBs. The quarterback only threw 90 yards. Didn't have to do a whole lot more because they ran it for 400 yards. The overrun. The overrun right here is what we're talking about. Stretch play. Backside backer tries to take the hole. We miss it. If you're going to go, you got to take it. If you're going to go, make the play, right? You got cloudy and clear reads. He sees a hole. He's going to take it. But then there's a huge cutback on the backside. We're relying on the corner or safety or somebody else making that tackle. Man, it's tough. And it's tough because instinctually, in the old way of learning football, downhill, everything was in the eye or the wing tee, everything like that. People were going fast downhill, right? And just the new way, the way that the zone running has really changed things for us, has changed the way a lot of linebackers have to play. So looking at next play, again, we're going to get a little bit of a broken pocket. From the linebacker spot again, though, you're going to see color going across the face. You see wide receiver coming across, 3-by-1. They got a bunch set. Wide receiver coming across, right? He's occupying him. You would think that's where we should pick it up. We should pick that up for whatever reason. We don't pick it up. It's first down. We're going to see backside right here. Flashing across. I would think that's where we need to make the pickups. So they get the first down, unfortunately. So just keep it rolling. I mean, there's, when you're in these situations, obviously you're getting tired on defense. You're starting to sub guys in and out. It's maybe not always your ones out there, but you need to know your rules. You need to know your communication. Yeah, and you still need to be able to play no matter who's in there, because obviously injuries and things are going to happen. Here's the our typical holler play, right? Watch their tight end. He does the fake pivot. He does a 180, and he ends up being the lead on it. Run the reverse. There's the holler play. They got us with it. That's typically what we're doing to teams. They decide to do it to us. Good play by Kansas. I mean, again, we're allowing ourselves to get blocked in a lot of these situations. Here's was kind of the TV, the highlight. They were showing the run game right here. One of those things where, again, so we talked about it. Is it the play calls or is it the plays? Well, sometimes the play calls right now we're getting into these situations where, did the offense know that we're going to run a pressure right here? It's a good question. We're running the cat blitz, we're running the corner, and then we're also running the linebacker edge, right? So we're running double edges, and we run it straight into a screen. And it's one of those things, if you can if you know that a blitz is coming and you can screen into it, that's a hell of a play for the offense, right? So, did the defense know, or is that just bad timing? It's happened a few times to us, though, so it's kind of a fair question to say. Are we? Is this something that we need to self scout a little bit better? Our tendencies, our calls, or is this, just right play, right time? I don't know, but it has happened a few times to us where we end up having a pressure directly into something where, ends up being a really nice play for the offense. So, good play, stretch it out. Again, once you get into those broken pocket plays and you get an athlete on the side, scary situation. Again, stretch, cut back, stretch, cut back. That's happened a lot to us. See that? We're going downhill, downhill. Now the window's gone. Now it's too late. First down out of it. Gonna see another good end zone shot again. I wish that we could get the end zone shot more. Still cloudy. Don't over pursue it. It's cloudy. Don't over pursue it. There was the window. If you're gonna take it, take it. Oh, next, first and goal. They're running the little triple. Do a good job right here, right? I mean, this is, if you're going to look at the positives, you kind of got to look at everything. They're running zone triple. We do a nice job. And, unfortunately, I mean, there's not a whole lot to this. This is pretty much, they just condense it. They're going to run, again, split zone action, right? So, condense it. Then they're just going to run split zone. Zone is supposed to be going to the right. And he hits the cutback for the touchdown. So again, we're crashing with it. We try to fall back. That's actually what I mean by the fallback, right? By the linebacker. It's a pretty good job. So we have D-line going with it. D-line is going to the right, or what we're seeing on the, our screen right. Linebacker's cutting back. Unfortunately, we don't run the feet. That's probably been the other big issue that we've seen is we're not exactly running the feet on our tackling. Just part of it. Just got to learn. A lot of that stuff, obviously, you got to learn in the spring. You got to learn it in camp. We weren't doing it. They give us a little false read. They're trying to trigger down with the backers. So we see that. They do suck us up. But we do a good job of staying true in the back end on the DB side. This play, it's one of those plays where you see the flashes right now out of Malachi. Malachi has had, I think, 6 sacks in 6 games, maybe 5 sacks in 6 games. Either way, though, he's not our every down end. Malachi has been doing a pretty good job, right? I mean, this is a really nice move. It's he's got the edge. He's running the hoop, right? He's getting around. He's getting stopped. Spins back inside. One leg. I don't really care how you do it. I don't care how you do it. I'll take the sack anyway, especially when it's 24-0 in this game. So 3rd and 22. Get him in, one of these situations where it's a long down. What do you think is going to happen? It's just going to be easy run. I mean, it's just going to be screen, draw, easy run, that type of stuff. Is what it is. Force the punt. That's fine. But that's the way the half ends, right? We're looking at it right now. It's 24-0. It's not exactly going great. And we really haven't done a whole lot to stop the run. So this is now, we're going to be taking a look at the second half, third quarter starting out right now. So, okay, so stepping into the third quarter, second half obviously is ugly. It's about to get worse. Yeah, like I said, I think that Kansas really, from the up top, from the box, they were able to see we obviously didn't fit up the counter well. GT counter out the gate. Pretty much every team in America is going to run a version of this. Every high school in America is going to run a version of this. Again, we're going to try to box it from the outside, which is fine. We actually do a pretty good job squeezing it, but our linebackers got to get over faster. Our linebackers are not there. I don't know on the front side backer why we're taking this inside route. I don't really know that. And then on the backside backer, he needs to be fighting over the top. he needs to be getting over there sooner. Again, you have color flashing across your face. You got GT counter going the opposite way. I know we have a stunt coming through. We're bringing a safety. I would think that this should supersede that as soon as you see that color coming through. The advantage that we have at the linebacker spot, at the safety spot, the advantage that you're going to have over the offensive lineman is obviously the quickness and the speed, and the advantage that they're going to have is the strength and the weight on you. So we can't fight it, 1-to-1, strength on strength. We need to get over the top. We need to get across, and, it's like 80 yards out the gate. Not good, right? Again, you see it coming. It's one of those things, corners aren't on your team to make these tackles in the run situation. Corners aren't on your team to take on the guards and tackles in the blocking game. Corners are out there to stop the wide receivers. So that's really, I'm not going to put a whole lot of weight on the cornerbacks trying to make tackles on GT counter, that type of stuff. Third quarter, we finally got our touchdown. You're able to see what they do again, though. They go right back to it, GT, again, they're getting downhill. When we're trying to run it outside, they're trying to get downhill on gap scheme. You try to box it, and then you try to play it outside, but they're trying to get downhill. It's creating a huge, huge hole. Now, on the opposite side, when you see the GT pulling, guard tackle pull, there's no more A-gap on the backside, right? And linebackers, for whatever reason, I guess we are reading back, right? I guess we're reading running back. Again, that probably wouldn't be my preference to do it. And we're just getting caught way up in the wash. Guy who makes the tackle, but it's bad angle. Okay, so first down, you can see we're bringing backer safety. End up being a nice play. Finally, we have one of them where the timing and the play call is correct for us on defense. 2nd and 12, we see buck sweep. What do I mean by that? We see both guards pulling around. It's kind of a little pin pull action up to the top of the screen where they get it. But buck, you're going to see both guards pulling. Again, once you see both guards pulling, you would think that the linebacker should be flying out of there, or at least beating them over the top. Linebackers and running backs are very... linebackers and running backs are basically mirroring each other on the opposite sides of the line, right? So they should have some equivalent athleticism. So fighting over the top, getting across, not just letting a weak block stop you from making the play. But that was just kind of the story of the day, right? It's not a knockout block right there by the tight end. We go inside of it. We go try to rip underneath it. By that time, ball's already gone over the top. Counter again. GT again. I get it. Somebody's sitting the end. Watching for quarterback. He's doing a nice job. But again, we have end out there already. Let's get over the top. I know it probably sounds like I'm repeating myself with a lot of it. Well, that's what happened. A lot of it was very high schoolish. It was very varsity, junior varsity, where one team couldn't stop a play, the other team just kept running the play because they couldn't stop it, right? You don't have to run 40 plays, different plays in an offense to be successful. You can run the same 10 plays over and over and over. And if they can't stop it, you can continue to do that and keep hammering them. Same concepts, again, and that's what I was seeing is that they saw what they liked with the blocking, and they saw how we were fitting it and decided, hey, we're going to keep pressing it. Now, this is one of the plays where we do a really good job. We do a really good job right here. We see the zone blocking. It's not man blocking. Stretch block. Do a good job. Running back doesn't cut back, and we're able to stay on it front side. 3rd and 6, finally get him into a pretty good 3rd and 6 for us. But unfortunately, the X factor is quarterback run, and that's such a hard thing to stop. It really at any level, quarterback run, you see the Lamar Jacksons of the world. You've seen countless Heisman winners be able to do this. Ends up just being easy play, QB draw. This is pretty easy, right up the gut. Not a whole lot to say about that, at least, either. Not a whole lot of fancy. Nothing's really changing. Again, second goal. Touchdown. Yeah. It's really, again, they're zoning it. But there's not a whole lot of margin for error when you're on the goal line like that. Next series, 37-15 at this point, fourth quarter. They're gonna go GH counter now, right? They've already gone enough GT. Now they're gonna run GH. GH, what do I mean by that? I mean the H is in the wing back, GF, whatever you want to call it. Basically, it's going to be guard and fullback now instead of guard and tackle. We actually do a really good job. Now, this is one time, now we're spilling it. The end cuts inside. The end, he wrong shoulders it. I don't know if you can see that up top, clearly what I'm talking about, but look at the end up top. When he sees the block coming, instead of trying to take it head on, obviously it's end versus guard, he decides to inside out it, wrong tackle it. Good. Very, very good job. We have the linebacker fighting over the top. That's a great job. Now we need the third player, right? They got two blockers coming over. That backside backer needs to be there. That backside backer, again, if we're keying the indicators, we're keying the guard going across. We see the fullback going across as well. I think right now, we should, in theory, we should be okay on quarterback, so we shouldn't really have to worry about the auxiliary run on the backside of it. Again, first down. So, again, the first down. They saw it. They like it. What are we going to do? This is just another variation of counter again. GF again. They're running it back. Yeah, I think we got a face mask too on this play. But again, we see the puller. Right now, we do a pretty good job of getting over. Right, make this one a little bit tight for him. Make it a little bit tight, ball it up. Got to make the tackles. We had it. We end up letting it be 6-yard run. Then we ends up being another, I think, 15 on top of that because we get a face mask at the end of it. We end up making a bad situation worse. First down. Not a whole lot of trickiness to this. I know they give us the cross action in the backfield. But, yeah, there's not really a whole lot going on there. That's just, again, I don't really fault the cornerbacks. Brandon Adams, Corey Thornton. I don't really personally, unless you're calling for the play for them to get involved in the run fit, you're calling quarterback or corner blitz or anything like that. You really shouldn't be expecting the corners to be doing that if they have their receivers out there on the edges. Kansas Wildcat, again, playing a little copycat with us, but they're going kind of YY counter now. Right, bringing it across. You got a kick out. You have a lead. Opportunity right here. Getting trucked over. It's kind of the it's kind of the theme of the day, right? It's being in the wrong place at the wrong time, or we're getting trucked over. It was a lot of the time, you see guys from the past years for us, like Tavius Murray, even last year, Isaiah Bowser, a lot of that falling forward, right? And it's kind of the hammer and the nail concept. You got the momentum, the strength. You got one guy who's running the ball who, even though he's getting tackled, he's at least fighting forward for those forward momentum yards. And we weren't able to do a whole lot as far as stopping their momentum and really driving them back. So later on in the fourth quarter, Again, you can see the pullers coming, right? At this point, I think if you've made it this far through the video, if you're watching the line, the line is telling you where it's going, GF. So apparently we do learn how to spill it, or we are talking about spilling it, because I think this is Traymon right here at the end. Watch Traymon on the edge. Puller's coming. I'm going to get tight to the line. I'm going to wrong arm it, and I'm going to hug through. I'm going to try to take him out that way. We got the next fighting over the top. but we need to trust it, right? We need to trust that. So Draymond does his job, but basically he's out of the play as soon as he wrong arms it. And that's fine because now we're trying to stretch it. The second level, the next backer, we need to keep fighting. We're getting inside. I don't know what we're doing at that situation. I don't know exactly why we're trying to get to where we do. What made us get right in there, get in the wash? I don't know. I mean, that's a dirty read right there, right? That's 2nd and 4. We're able to stop it. It's not 70-yard run, whatever. They're going GF again. I mean, like I said, this feels like a high school game, like a JV or a varsity game, whatever you want to say. It's they're not trying to, they're trying to run out the clock at this point. They're trying to get this game moving. GF, guard pulled, backside backers going the wrong way again. We're not getting over the top well. We're not doing a great job getting over the top. We're not doing a great job keying that. Again, you can teach it a lot of different ways, but I think even if you are going to key the back, you still need to be able to see that color just cross your face. Again, this is the hard thing of an end, somebody trying to take on that guard, trying to take it on thick. You end up getting boxed out pretty easily. You end up getting pushed out pretty easily. We get kicked out, so instead of wrong arming down the line, we get kicked out. It just creates a big downhill gap. Ends up being a huge play for them. See the end zone shot of it. That's what I'm saying. So when you see the end crash down on the puller, instead of sitting it, if you try to wrong arm it and get inside, you can try to cancel the gap where the fullback's going, where 47 is. See how 47 now, he's creating 2 more gaps to the left and right on the inside and outside. If we can try to get underneath the first kick out, then we can try to stretch it and make the running back bounce it to the outside. We can try to ball it up, take away those gaps with bodies, right? It's not always just taking away gaps by making tackles, but also taking away gaps by making it dirty for the running back. Running backs, linebackers, virtually the same on either side of the ball. They do the same types of drills. They run a bag. If as soon as you flash color one way, left or right, they need to make a jump cut and they need to go. Next play, 2nd and goal. Let's do a really good job here. Malachi just sitting the edge and then having the speed and athleticism to get to a very athletic quarterback. We know he's a very good quarterback. We know he's very mobile. Having this athleticism is really what makes Malachi a very, very good rush D end. I do wish that we got to see him get some more regular down snaps too, and I wish that he was more in a lot of our 3rd down obvious rush or obvious pass rush situations, because I think he's done a really good job in limited gameplay this year. Nice job by the D-line right there. Nice job stopping it, and then we end up getting to the next series. Next series again, basically game's over. They're trying to keep it running. Again, GF, let's just do the right thing. That's what I think is frustrating when I'm watching this. This is going to be on clinic tapes over and over for years to come. The offensive line coach, the offense coordinator, running back coaches. I mean, when they do their clinic shops around the country, they do Nike Coach of the Year, Cool Clinic, Glazer, all that stuff. You're going to see these plays. They're going to talk about the counter. They're going to talk about how, they're one of the best counter teams in America. And unfortunately, we're going to get caught on their film. But just... we see it. N does a good job spilling it. So maybe you can see it right here, actually, where the guard is coming. The N decides that he's going to crash inside. Good, we spill it. Now we force the fullback out. But again, now we're missing the third. We're missing the third guy, now the tackler. And again, he gets caught up by the running back, or by the, he gets caught up when he's trying to make the tackle by the lineman. Again, we see that pulling color. Get over the top faster. Get over the top. So, not perfect. Never is. I mean, that's kind of the nature of football, right? You can draw everything you want up on a static, on an X's and O's whiteboard. Reality is players are always going to be moving. Things are always moving, right? There's no such thing as just, robots on a field, chalkboard on a field. This is really... you gotta take a look at everybody and see where things are flowing, and that's obviously part of what makes the game hard. So Now we see GT again. We actually do a better job reading initially from the linebacker spot, but again, now it's 57 minutes into the game, so it's a little bit too little too late to be able to do a whole lot right there. Um, 3rd and 15, just kind of an obvious down. It's, 3rd and 15, we know that where the score is, they're not going to be trying to throw the ball, right? It's if they do, it's probably going to be a screen. We're not seeing some sort of deep throw, so we should probably be alert on the run. Linebackers, just where they're at, 3-by-1. We're bowed right now. We're backers weak instead of backers strong. I don't know if we're supposed to be backers strong right there, but being backers weak, this allows them to get better leverage on us and then stretch it out there. And I mean, inexplicably, 3rd and 15, it's screen draw, something like that. They end up just going stretch and they get it all the way out to the edge. They get 17 yards. That's how the afternoon went, right? It was a pretty ugly afternoon. It's the first game I feel like we lost the game. K-State, I thought we had the chance. Baylor, obviously, what happened. Kansas, unfortunately, just is what it is. So, yeah, that's the end of the video. That's the end of the defense. Thank you guys so much for sticking around, especially if you stuck around for the whole thing for offense and defense. It's obviously a longer video. But just trying to show some of, kind of what I could see, what they were doing well, what we didn't do well. Hats off to Kansas. They played a very good job up front with the offensive line. Their running backs were doing a nice job as well. So, if you guys like the videos, please do me a favor, hit the like, share, subscribe button. And, we'll keep it going. Hopefully the season turns around, gets better. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to be looking at during the bye week. If anything, I'm actually going to be on vacation for a few days. So hopefully for a better situation against Oklahoma, but we'll find out in a few weeks. So anyways, thank you guys so much.